role in the industry with renewables?
Yeah, wow, okay. So I started in renewables in 2008, electrician by trade. Then I moved into renewables, as I said, around 2008, started doing rooftop residential and commercial solar. And this was at a time when 1.5 and 2 kilowatt systems were your standard size system. We were sort of doing the larger side of things, started doing ground mount, a lot of engineering and design, and then slowly moved into BIPV as an interesting space around 2010, 2011. Consultancy, design, manufacturing, these sort of things. And then became a partner of Brickworks Group and did all their BIPV installations nationally for several years as we launched our own product, which is now Volt Solar Tile. So it took us about 8 years of R&D really until we actually launched, but we were heavily invested in the business for about 3 years, from about 2020 until we launched in 2020, late 2022.
Yeah. So you were in the industry for how long before you saw that there was an opportunity with Volt?
I was in the industry for about 2 years, and my background is also construction. So I've done my Cert 4 in building construction, understand roofs and how the fabric of buildings, come together. And so I sort of saw this as an interesting thing rather than a big business opportunity. And then just slowly sort of investigated BIPV facades, so that's solar panels on facades, solar windows, and solar roofs, and saw that
So not specifically solar tiles, you were looking at a broad range of different types of BIPV?
yeah, I was really interested in how you can utilize building integrated PV in the building fabric, wherever it might be. And this was very early days, so I'd only been doing solar for a couple of years, so I understood solar design, but from a electrical perspective, DC design, inverters, and this is a time when solar panels were 110, 120 watts each. Then I started to understand how to optimize energy generation, and we looked at it at BIPV in different forms. So a facade faces 90 degrees in one direction from the sun, whereas a roof is at generally about 22 degrees facing northeast or west towards where the sun might be in the southern hemisphere. So being at 90 degrees to the sun, it means that it obtains a lot of shading. It gets lower ratings either in the morning, the afternoon, or summer, winter, depending on which side of the home it's or building that it's facing. So what I slowly started to understand was, where can you optimize the most energy from that product and where it goes on the building. And very quickly after doing designs around building integrated facades, so solar tile, solar panel walls, solar windows, this sort of stuff, we understood there was very low generation, and it was really an architectural solution and not much of an energy solution, because you would spend all that money to design and install this product. There's a high maintenance cost because of access, particularly on anything that's above a sort of single story building. You start to if you needed to change an inverter or a solar panel on a facade, it would be very expensive. So your maintenance costs are high and the energy generation is very low. So that led us really towards what is the most optimum location for solar if you wanted to integrate it into a building. And the most underutilized asset on a building is the roof. There is nothing on there, and the roof is a big part of the home because it's the first thing that you see if it's a pitched roof. So BIPV really makes sense to solve that, because you can get high energy generation, but you can also solve a problem of roof and warranty and leaks and this sort of stuff. But ultimately an aesthetic solution. So when you come and see the new home that you've built, designed and built, that you can't see big ugly solar panels on that roof. And we really started to move towards, how do we then best implement that solar tile into the roof? What is the best technology to use, the most important products? And this was a long journey. This was 8 or 9 years of working in industry, both from a design perspective, consultancy, into organisations that were wanting to create a BIPV product, and then also working on the manufacturing side and the installation side. So we sort of brought all these different parts, and we worked with products that were made of plastic, so like a BMC compound that's on a roof, and that created a lot of issues. Thermal mass meant lower performance.
When you say you worked on that product, was that a different product to Volt?
Yes, very different to Volt. So we worked with these products that were either available in the market or organisations were creating and asking us to support them in creating so they could launch into the market. And so
This was roughly how long ago?
this was started in about 2011,
Yeah.
2010, 2011, and obviously launching in 2022, I should say, in October 2022. That's a journey of over a decade of working in the industry and refining things. So what we found was that, the first one is you want to have a low thermal mass of your product. The enemy of voltage or power output is heat. So the hotter the solar cells, the less they're going to perform, and the higher the degradation of that product over time. So it's really about reducing the amount of thermal mass, whereas most of the products on the market were thought of as a roof tile. So there would be a molded plastic compound that would go into a roof and laminating solar cells into that. And that creates a large amount of heat behind the cells and therefore lower performance.
And is that typically different to a standard solar panel?
Yeah, so standard solar panels are glass and aluminium. Glass, which encapsulates the solar cells, so it's either a double glass module, there will be glass and EVA, which goes behind the glass, solar cells, EVA and a TPT backing sheet. And what that EVA does in the middle is it seals those solar cells from any moisture getting into the product. But the aluminium frame that encapsulates the entire outside of the glass, the EVA, the TPT, and the cells, that aluminium frame has a Tonson glue, so a specific solar glue that goes in and around the frame, and then it encapsulates the glass. So that stops any water ingress coming in, and that's a hugely important factor in the design of our product. What we've done is we're encapsulating the entire solar laminate, whether it's a double glass or a single glass module. It's fully encapsulated, and that means that our warranty is so much stronger. Like our performance over the life of the product is much higher. We're not going to get moisture getting into that laminate, whereas a lot of the products that came to the market didn't have that encapsulation. So the principles in design that we first followed were low thermal mass on the product, following standard solar panel design principles. How do they currently make solar panels? And so not only are we getting longer warranties and a more durable product, we're also getting lower cost and high quality manufacturing, because these facilities that make hundreds of megawatts per year, we fit within their existing manufacturing techniques. You don't need to take a product and then go and manhandle, assemble it manually. So that's a really important part of how we are keeping costs quite low of our product, but improving the quality of the product. So it led us to low thermal mass, so we've got nothing in behind our cells. The solar tile itself, the Volt solar tile, is the roof tile, so it's the fabric there. There's no plastic composite or compound behind that. It sits on a roof like a standard roof tile, which is sort of the next part of the principle. It's got to be very easy to install. So we've got installations all around the world, and one of the easy parts is we can do online training. It's very, very simple to install our product. So we've got a product with low thermal mass that's made similar to a standard solar panel. Our next problem is, how do we do that? Because we need to make extrusions that fit the same mold as a roof tile, and the roof tiles are a molded product, so a 3D molded product. They press it and make that product and put it through the kiln. But we're an extruded product, so we're one single line, and then you've got to cut and make that all join. So you've got the bullnose, which is the same as, say, the Platinum Escandella roof tile, the overall and underall, so the watercourse and the overall on the edge of the roof tile where they join together, and then the top sections with the gutters. So we needed to create a product that went together easily at as low a possible cost, that's highly durable, and so a lot of our R&D went into the design of those extrusions. And then we included additional features, like we have a cable containment system on our solar tile, which manages all the cabling, which means it's very easy to install and it protects those cables from rodents or whatever it might be in the roof space. We've got an interlocking mechanism on the front of it, so it locks into the solar tile below, which is really important because it means it's highly durable, much, much stronger than a standard tiled roof. more waterproof and durable in that sense.
So are you saying that the Volt solar tile module is more durable than the roof tiles that they are accompanied with?
Absolutely, absolutely. From a perspective of wind uplift, we are fixed both at the back of the solar tile where it fixes into the batten, and then at the bottom of the solar tile where it locks into the solar tile below. So if you're getting uplift pressure, say you've got a really bad storm, cyclone, whatever it might be, it's locked at both ends, whereas a standard roof tile is just fixed into the batten at the top of the tile. And we're a very strong product. Our new version is also double glass. So that means it's stronger against hail impact, it's more durable, fire resistant, these sort of things. So there's a lot of factors that have gone into the journey of Volt Solar Tile to become quite a strong, durable product, but the same principle applies, very easy to install. Our installers, constantly say it's quicker to install than a standard panel system. So if you have a standard solar panel system, the roof gets installed on that home. Then you need to go and you need to remove roof tiles, and you've got to grind a channel out of the top of the roof tile and out of the bottom of the roof tile above, and you've got to put a metal bracket in there. So that takes a lot of time. There's a lot of dust, a lot of issues with safety, that sort of thing. You've now broken the warranty of the roof, so that roof will leak and the water will go down in a storm event onto the sarkin, and you've got good sarkin. Obviously, that water won't get into the roof of the home or into the ceiling of the home. So that process, then you'll put a rail on top of that bracket, and then you install your solar panels on there. There's a lot more work to do, whereas with our solar tile, they show up when the roofer shows up, the electricians start doing the wiring, the battens are in sarkin and battens are installed as per a standard roof. The roof tilers get up on the roof and they install the sarkin and battens, and then the solar installers get up and they just lay the solar tiles down on the battens, fix them into the back of the battens, and that's the roof. Then the roofers come and frame the rest of the roof tiles around the solar tiles. It's as simple as that. So there's no mounting system that the solar installers have to install. The cabling's all contained in there, and it just lays down really, really quickly. So it's a very easy product to install, and that comes from a company founded by both my brother and I, who are both electricians and solar installers. So we know how solar's installed, and we've made this as easy as possible to do, and very compliant with all the standards around the world.
Yeah, wonderful. So there's a big stretch of 8 years of development, and also the jump from being an electrician to doing product development. Did you have any support with engineers to help you with the design and engineering of the product itself?
So I first started out doing all the designs in 3D myself and working with external engineers. Then along the journey we employed our own engineers to help with all different aspects. So we have engineers who do just electrical engineering, the DC, PV design, this sort of thing. We have engineers that do 3D design and are specialists in certain aspects of that. And then we also get external support around aluminium and how to best work with the manufacturers with aluminium and that sort of thing. So we both have engineers to support the product, from a manufacturing and design perspective, in terms of the solar tile and the mechanical design. But then we've also got engineers that support on the electrical side of things as well.
Yeah. And so you launched with the first Planum and Lodge model, and they both integrate with specific roof tiles with Bristile Roofing and La Escandella. So tell me about that partnership with those two companies.
Yeah, so we've been working with Brickworks Group, Bristile Roofing, for over a decade. We were an installation partner of theirs and did advisory around solar tile design and installation, electrical standards, solar standards, this sort of stuff. A little bit of manufacturing support. But ultimately, as we've gone through that journey, Bristile have seen Volt and they love the product, and so we've gone into a partnership with them where we integrate with the two roof tiles that they have that are flat, which is the Prestige concrete roof tile that's made in both Queensland and Victoria, and then also the Planum La Escandella roof tile, which is ceramic, a clay roof tile that they import from Spain. And so that relationship has been around for a very, very long time. About 4 years ago, we entered into an exclusive arrangement where we work with only their roof tiles. We're in all of their design studios around the country. We work with all of their builders. We work with all of their roofers. It's an excellent partnership. With that And because we had a solar tile that therefore integrated with Escandella, there's been a relationship built with Escandella based in Spain. So Escandella distribute roof tiles to about 85 countries around the world. They have a very highly automated manufacturing plant, but they have one of the highest quality roof tiles in the world. So it's a 100-year product and colour warranty. Their roof tile is using like the finest, best clay in the world, and they have a very strong network of roofing companies they work with in all around the world, from the US all throughout Europe, Australia, Africa. And so that partnership, again, we've got an exclusive partnership with them. We're their solar tile provider. They distribute the product throughout Spain and Portugal, and then we work with them all around the world in all the different countries to distribute the product. So currently we're installed in Spain, France, Turkey, Portugal, Australia, and a system being installed in Argentina shortly.
Yeah. Very exciting. And so why is it important that the Vault module is only integrating with these tiles? Why is it not a retrofit?
I think we need to focus on one area of the market that has the greatest impact. And so we are an aesthetic design solution. We're something architects see and they love. They now have a requirement in Australia with the new NCC, National Construction Code. There is a requirement around having solar panels to offset energy usage in that home. And if you think about your design in a beautiful home, it's a pitched roof. Do you really want to see big, ugly solar panels on it? It ruins the aesthetic of that home.
So if someone is looking at Vault for their home, or if they are an architect or a builder that are wanting to have this product integrated in a project that they're working on, how do they go about it?
So if you're interested in re-roofing your home or renovation re-roof, but more importantly a re-roof, you can make an inquiry with Vault. We've got a national network of roofing businesses and solar businesses that work exclusively with Vault. A lot of our roofing businesses that we work with, they are experts in re-roofing. So no matter where you are in Australia, if you're looking for a re-roof, you just make an inquiry through our website. We've got a whole page dedicated to re-roofing and all the information around re-roofing homes. And then we will organise one of our team to come out and see you, provide budgets, designs, locations, even what the best size battery is to have, all of the battery and solar rebates that roll into that, what products might be suitable, any risks that you might have with council around heritage overlays and how we can overcome that. We do full solar design analysis with shading analysis so you can see how much power you're going to generate, how much your energy bills are going to be moving forward, and what those best solutions are. So the initial part of the consultation really goes into the detail of both the roof, the cost to re-roof that home, where you might have issues. You might have roof trusses that are dropping, so you have an uneven roof, so we might need to get carpenters in to support to fix that. Right through the solar design and the financial benefit that you'll have from re-roofing your home with Vault, and if you choose to have a battery as well. From there, once you commit to the project, our re-roofing company will come out with you specifically and work through all the details. We can show you samples and all the information that you need. We will have scaffold and guardrail set up around the home to start the re-roof. You'll remove certain roof planes to start with. You'll fix up the battens, install sark in. The roof tiles go down with Vault installers who will come in and install the solar tiles with the roofing business. So you're only needing to manage one organisation, which is Vault, to get this project done. And then we'll go and install the rest of the roof, inverters, batteries, commission, all the rebates will come through. So it's basically a very smooth, clean process, as opposed to if you were to do a re-roof and then bring in a solar contractor. The roofing contractor is not going to be providing a warranty around the area that the solar panels are installed, and you're going to be dealing with multiple parties, but you're still going to need to have scaffold and guardrail up for that process.
And so Vault is the solar module, and then also everyone's aware of the traditional solar panels. And do they work the same way when it comes to inverters and batteries?
Yeah, we are inverter and battery agnostic. We are a DC circuit like any solar panel. that's wired in a string and then taken down to the inverter location. So there is no need to change any. If you've got a specific inverter that you want to work with, we can work with you on that. Obviously, we only sell high quality products through our Volt partners. So if you've got a Volt solar tile, we wouldn't be recommending that you go to the cheapest inverter or battery in the market.
Why?
The quality. There's a lot of new inverters in the market. Specifically, there's not a lot of new inverters in the market right now because the federal battery homes rebate. And so there's been this incredible boom in battery installations around the country on both existing homes with existing solar systems, and then when you're installing solar now. And we don't see any systems sold anymore unless they're getting a battery installed, because it's the cost of the battery is so low and it makes so much sense. But when you have a government incentivized boom, you have a lot of market entries, and a lot of those products come to the market unestablished here. They don't have officers or a lot of support, technical support and people here. So we're just very cautious about who we recommend working with. But ultimately, the choice is yours, because we're a solar panel, just like any other, but we integrate into the roof.
And I know next time I'm going to need a pen and paper, because every time you talk, I'm like, oh, that's a good question, that's a good question, that's a good question. But then by the time you stop, I'm like, what was the question? You know how like solar panels and the whole like string of panels, if there's shaded, then that whole string of panels gets affected. Mm-hmm. Is Volt the same? And where does that like...
So when you talk about DC design and shading of a string, ultimately what happens is in a series circuit, the voltage remains the same, but when you get shading, it's the current that goes up and down. And so if you have shading on one individual solar panel, no matter what the solar panel technology is, that will reduce the amount of current that can flow through that. So all of the other solar modules in that string might be generating 10 amps, but one in the middle's got a big stick, say, or something on top of it, and it's generating 3 amps. That entire string will be reduced to 3 amps. So therefore, if one panel is one of 10, you're getting degradation across that entire circuit. I suppose one of the benefits is that Volt is much smaller, and every solar panel, whether it's a Volt solar tile or a standard solar panel, Volt is about anywhere from 105 to 115 watts. Standard solar panel is about 4 to 400. Similar power efficiency, so we're using the exact same cells as the newest, greatest solar modules out there. But if you get shading on one Volt solar tile, generally speaking, we've got bypass diodes, so you'll be able to bypass part of that reduction in current, and therefore maintain not as much reduced output as you would with a larger panel. A way to overcome this is to use microinverters. We can work with microinverters that would put the microinverter in the roof. So you can use a DC optimizer or a microinverter, but it's the same for standard solar panels. So if you have this on a solar panel, you can have it on a solar tile. So there's very little difference between a standard solar panel and a solar tile for reduction in power output due to shading. We would be slightly better because we have a smaller solar module, so therefore you're affecting a smaller string.
And say you're not wanting to replace your whole roof. Say that you're just wanting to replace half of your house where you're doing your renovation. Yeah. What does that look like if you're wanting to also integrate Volt?
So I think there's two different scenarios that we see. The first is we're doing a renovation and we need to install a new roof on the extension. And so that's fine. We can just be installed on that like a standard new home build. So we put renovations into one category because it's almost like a new home. So they're renovating, they're re-roofing. Again, they might be re-roofing only a section because the quality of the roof is okay in other areas. So we can do one section of an existing roof. Obviously, we want to make sure that the customer's aware of the quality of the existing roof and what does and doesn't need to be replaced. But we can do one single roof plane of a complete re-roof. We don't retrofit. So if you've got a home that's got a Prestige or a Platinum roof tile already installed on it and you want us to retrofit, we won't come in and just remove those roof tiles and install Volt, because there's a multitude of different things. The important one is the batten spacing and just the quality of the roof in general. But what we will do is we will do a re-roof on one roof plane. Because we need to remove the roof tiles and generally the hips and the ridge just to get all of our spacings correct with the Volt product, we would strip that one roof plane, install Volt all over it, and then just finish those ridges and hips off. And generally speaking, we'd use the same ridges and hips. There's no need to bring in new ridges and hips. So it's not that expensive to just do an individual roof plane. But that we only really see that where there is a roof that's using similar or the same roof tile and someone really, really wants that aesthetic solution.